everyone, welcome to News to Astonish, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. And welcome to another episode of Comic Book Haul. I have brought with me an abundance of comics for this episode. It's going to be a good one. Actually, a bunch of new comics came out this week. And of course, I collected some old ones that I found from my comic book guy. He wasn't there at the shop today, so I decided to pick it up and buy it from his stash. And I left him the money there. Anyways, this is a very exciting episode for me personally because the comics that I picked up for today, I decided to read almost all of them before I started recording this episode right now, the one that you're watching. And I picked up my favorite out of the batch is probably like the first couple of issues that I'm about to show you right now. Starting with the first one is DC Universe Rebirth Batman number 33. I had a blast with this one. I actually had a lot of fun. This is the Rules of Engagement comic, part 1. And if you don't know right now, if you're not reading Batman comics, Batman and Catwoman, aka Selina Kyle and Bruce Wayne, are engaged. And they are the cutest couple ever. I mean, I know it sounds really like not manly enough to say that the couple are like really cute. But I couldn't help but gush over every time I see them together because like they're really cool together. They have their problems. They're very... like, they are so broken, but they're perfect for each other. You know, one's a criminal and one has a war on crime, and they're like two peas in a pod, and I loved it, and I had a lot of fun with this issue. Looking forward to more stories with Batman and Selina Kyle. And looking forward to their comic where they get married. This is awesome. Pick it up. Okay, moving on to the next one. I had more fun than I did with Batman number 33. I picked up Batman number 37, Double Date. This comic really blew my mind. I was cracked. It was actually a really fun comic. It didn't feel like a DC comic. It felt like one of those fun Marvel comedy comic books. Like kind of like reading Deadpool, but like less vulgar. This is a really good comic. I don't want to spoil anything, but the dialogue here is just too adorable. If you've been on a double date with like, let's say your friends, you know, then you'd be like, oh my god, that's so true. You know, girlfriends talk to each other, and the boyfriend, you know, the boyfriends talk to each other as well about their partners and vice versa. And I've experienced it because I know what it's like, and like a lot of these things that you see here is true, except if only it were superheroes that were dating. And a little bit of a spoiler: Bruce Wayne is dressed up as Superman. And Clark Kent is dressed up as Batman. I'm not going to tell you why, but if you read this comic, you'll be like, oh, that's kind of cool. And that's actually kind of funny. There's some really good funny dialogue, especially that coming from Batman. And he is hysterical. But he doesn't try to be hilarious and hysterical. He doesn't even try at all. It's just the way he says things. You can't help but picture in your mind Kevin Conroy saying, like Kevin Conroy's voice, which is the voice actor for the animated series Batman. You can't help but picture him saying it, you know, saying like the words that he does in this comic. And I'm like, oh my god, that sounds hilarious if it was Kevin Conroy saying those lines of dialogue. And I was like, man, I'm like, I'm playing this as an episode of like Justice League or Batman, the animated series, in my head as I'm reading this, and it's a lot of fun. There's no action in this comic book. There's nothing whatsoever. It's just a couple of superheroes having a night out, having a double date, and that's it. Anyways, I urge you to pick this up right away. Good read, had a blast, laughed, loved it. It's really cute. I couldn't help but gush over those two. Lois Lane and Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne, and Selina Kyle just going out on a date. Next one, DC Rebirth Rules of Engagement Part 3. I don't have part 2 with me. I forgot to buy. I couldn't find it actually. I was at the comic store looking for it. I read this issue as well. Loved it as well. This is Batman Universe number 35. This is DC Universe Batman number 35. Rules of Engagement Part 3. Selina Kyle and Talia al Ghul fight to the death to see if Selina Kyle is worthy of the detective, aka Batman. Really interesting comic. A lot of fun. Good dialogue between the two. Really fun. Good artwork too. I loved it. Read it. Next up, Marvel Legacy Arms Race, Spider-Man versus Deadpool. Number 20. No, this is actually just this is Marvel Legacy. This isn't. Yeah, this is a Spider-Man Deadpool comic. Number 25, excuse me. Yeah, 25th issue. I read this issue. Not a fan of the artwork, and it's not as funny as like the first 8 or 9 issues. But overall, I mean, it's Spider-Man and Deadpool. Who doesn't love the pair? I mean, those guys are pretty fun. I had a decent time with it. I liked it, but I did enjoy the DC Universe Batman number 33 and 35 and the Double Date comic more than this, actually, surprisingly. But yeah, still a good one, and I am up to date with the Deadpool Spider-Man comics. I have all 25 issues so far. Number 26 should be coming on January 10th, if I'm not mistaken, and I am looking forward to that as well. Next up, Dark Knight's Hawkman Found. This is what I was looking forward to. Look at this issue. It is gorgeous right here. I'll put it right here. The screen's going to get a little dimmed. But here it is. Here's the issue. It is beautiful. Picked this bad boy up. It was in my personal file when I got to the comic book store. And he pulled this bad boy. I was like, hey, this just came in. I'm like, oh, great. I'll take it. Yeah, this is the Dark Knight's Metal tie-in. Haven't read it yet. I'm about to. I'm going to read it shortly. And maybe I'll do a review on it. But you got to pick this up. These one-shots are amazing. Story is perfect. It really like engrosses you in. It really gets you into the story. And you get to see like different parts and different versions of the Batman if he were a bad guy. So yeah, definitely pick this up. Read it. Can't wait. I haven't read it, so I'm going to read it. All right, next up. Probably my most highly anticipated comic of this comic book haul ever is Doomsday Clock number 2 out of 12. This came out like about 3 nights ago, like 3 days ago. And I was like, shit, I got to go pick it up. But I couldn't because I was working and I was busy and doing other things and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, I just remember I got to go pick up the comic books. It's Saturday. It's comic book holiday. And this was waiting for me in my personal file as well at the comic store. And I'm like, I finally got it. This is the original issue cover. The variant issue with the one with Lex Luthor. It wasn't available because I don't think it's out yet, but I think it's going to be coming out later next week. I'm going to go ahead and pick up myself that version as well. Same comic, just different cover. But looking forward to reading this one because I had a blast with the first one. Totally read like a Watchmen comic book. It felt like the original writers wrote it, but they didn't. And it really didn't feel like a DC comic, even though it does take place in the same DC universe. So yeah, definitely going to be reading this. It's on my top priority right now. And okay, another new comic. This just came out. The Black Panther Marvel Legacy number 168. I'm not all too extremely familiar with Black Panther, but I am having a good time with the Marvel Legacy stuff. And I urge you to pick these up as well. I mean, they're doing a really good job, especially with the artwork. I'm going to be definitely reading this. Really excited for this one. Cover's gorgeous. But not as gorgeous as the DC property. I would like to see Marvel make more outstanding covers that really pop out at you, just like they used to do back in the day. And speaking of back in the day, I picked up this bad boy from my comic book guy at the comic book shop today. This is Infinity Crusade number 1. Now, each of these Infinity titles have 6 issues, so I only found the first one. These are kind of hard to come by. I'm going to follow up with the comic book guy next Friday to see if he has the rest so I can buy the rest from him. It's been a while since I read these, so you're going to have to, bear with me. But yeah, this is in my collection now, and it's a gorgeous cover. This is what I mean by Marvel needing to make covers that really pop out, that have amazing art, and that are completely distinguishable from other types of comic books. They just don't make them like this anymore, and it's a real shame because they're gorgeous, and it really pops out at you. See? Really nice. So yeah, Infinity Crusade number 1. And lastly, I found this in a bin. I'm like, why is this even here? This comic should be worth a little bit more. But I found this in the dollar bin. And this is the first unbelievable issue, as it says here on the comic cover. This is the Secret Defenders #1, right here. And look how gorgeous it is. It's got Doctor Strange right there in the front, with Wolverine, Nomad, Darkhawk, and Spider-Woman, all here in the front covers. This is the Secret Defenders #1, and I found this in a bin. And this was in a bin filled with X-Men comics, and I'm pretty sure this had to be a mistake. But I'm like, why was like this doing in there? Like, why was this in that bin? And this comic is from like 1992, and I'm like, wow, I definitely got to take this with me. This is a really good find. I really love this one. Definitely gonna read it because it's been a while since I read any of these Defender comics. And I mean, if you ask me, I wouldn't be able to tell you anything that comes out of this comic. I can't remember. It's just, when you read so many comics, you just lose track of time, and you lose track of like what the stories are about. You just gotta simply reread them, and just, it's like, oh yeah, that's what happens. Like with me personally, when I read comics, I tend to like remember the most memorable moments in a comic book, just like I do in a film. I mean, who doesn't? But that's how I know like a lot of like stories on comic books. I just remember like the memorable moments. But yeah, definitely a good haul today. Picked up some really nice comic books, really funny ones, really fun ones, really romantic ones, and a couple of classic ones. So, you know, the last two. So yeah, that's my comic book haul, guys, for tonight. Tell me what you guys thought about that. Let me know also what you like to see in my comic book haul videos. I will leave some information down on my comic book guy. He doesn't have any like social media, but I'm gonna go ahead and leave a link to the comic book store that I visit down below. They happen to have a YouTube channel, and I'll just post their Instagram, their YouTube channel, and their Facebook and everything, and you guys can go on in there and explore their channel and explore their social media pages all you want, and you'll see where I get my stuff from. But they're really cool. They have like Funko Pop vinyl figures, toys, comic books, you name it. They got everything there. Everything all geek related. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching. If you really like this episode, hit that like button, subscribe for more. And remember, do that, you will be considered for the Avengers Infinity War giveaway that I got going on. So remember, like, subscribe, comment down below, and I will see you all in the next comic panel.